Barbenheimer is here. With one of the biggest opening weekends ever, audiences have proven that there's still life in cinema beyond the big budget fare theatrical has been whittled down to. I saw Barbie yesterday and I had a really fun time. I've yet to see Oppenheimer at the time of this recording, but I'm hoping to go tomorrow. I did not have time to do a double bill, and for the first time in ages, every screening is booked to the gills. And that feels really good. Seeing a slew of franchises bomb this summer, whilst these two movies have flown, as well as a bunch of smaller budget fare like Asteroid City and Insidious, I think it proves that IP isn't what audiences flock to. They flock to the movies when they see trailers that tell a good story and look entertaining to watch. You can cram as many cape cameos as you want, but story will always be the #1 reason to go to the movies. Which is exactly why the actors and writers are so paramount and cannot be forgotten or sidelined. The SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes continue, and rightfully so. The response from industry heads like Disney's Bob Iger calling their desires unrealistic is frankly disgusting. The man is on $27 million a year. For many people, that is an unimaginable amount of money. Acquiescing to the strike demands would mean one less ivory back scratcher.
And I was going to buy that ivory back scratcher.
What's funny to me is that before Barbie played, there was a Disney promo video that tried to sell us on the magic of the brand, and a VO literally thanked the workers at the company for making it happen. Are you kidding me? You couldn't make it up. Pure propaganda BS. The good news is A24 are committing to doing the right thing, honouring the union's desires, and so we'll be seeing production commence on an exciting batch of 39 indies, including horror Dust Bunny, starring Mads Mikkelsen and Sigourney Weaver, and crime thriller The Rivals of Amziah King, starring Matthew McConaughey, as well as many more. As of the time of this writing, the unions do not want us to boycott the movies, so make sure you still go and see them, and prove that the artists behind them are invaluable. And for the love of God, if you review movies, don't accept work from struck companies, don't do paid promotion, don't go to premieres, don't get into bed with them. I mean, honestly, I think it's kind of weird to see TikTokers and influencers state that they ever accepted work from these companies to promote certain movies in the first place. Aren't you just tacitly admitting that you're paid to say they're good, rather than giving your honest opinion? I don't accept dollar bills from studios to say their work is good on this channel, strike or no strike, because then really, what is the point in me giving you my opinion at all? It wouldn't really be my opinion. Anyway, Barbie, Ken, Ncuti Gatwa, flimsy segue. It's been a while since I've done a Doctor Who video, but with the 60th approaching and Who's return to its former glory in sight, it's safe to say a fair few of those long gestating video essays will be coming in the next few months. But before that, I want to cast our minds back to the 50th anniversary 10 years ago to inform an idea about the 60th. Wait, what? The 50th was 10 years ago. Excuse me, I just felt the passage of time in a really real way and I want to throw up. The 60th will be multi-Doctor, but not how you think. The climax to the 50th special Day of the Doctor is absolutely thrilling. In 2013, Moffat orchestrated a scene that saw all 12 Doctors fly around Gallifrey in an effort to save it.
No, sir. All 13!
That's right. Of course, it wasn't just the 12 Doctors. We got our first official in-universe look at Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor and those famous attack eyebrows. It was a genuinely awesome surprise. The War Doctor and Doctors 10 and 11 were the leads of the 50th, and the other Doctors were brought to life in the climax through cleverly used archive footage. Capaldi's cameo was an outlier, a fresh piece of footage fans had never seen before. It was an incredibly brief moment, one that I didn't realise had no dialogue from 12 until years later, but it was the perfect way of creating a scene looking to the past but also to the future. And seriously, did anybody else think the line from the General was from Capaldi? I didn't know it wasn't him for an embarrassingly long amount of time. It actually played with my expectations in the year leading up to Day. We all knew this was Matt Smith's penultimate stint as the Doctor, and that filming for Capaldi's freshman series was just around the corner. Before we got more details on the special, I was fully convinced that Moffat would pull a wibbly wobbly timey wimey trick and have Capaldi show up in his full regalia alongside the incumbent Doctor and his guest stars. It would have made sense, right? The Doctor is essentially a wizard of time. The show dabbles in non-linearity all the time, and with the Next Doctor cast and ready to go, it just made sense to me that he could have had as big a role as the previous Doctors, even if we were yet to see him. Because
time travel! What?
that idea did kind of come to fruition in the form of that single eyebrow shot, but I think the 60th could take that idea and run with it. In many ways, the 60th is even better poised to do this idea than the 50th, and it would be the perfect way to surprise audiences given the discourse surrounding the trio of specials releasing later this year. Everyone thinks the 60th is just leaning on David and Catherine as 14 and Donna Noble, respectively. In spite of there being massive amounts of hype for their return and subsequent impossible reunion, I've seen a fair amount of fans unhappy with the fact that it seems this anniversary special won't be a multi-Doctor affair. It instead seems to be focused on this duo and will act as more of an introduction to RTD2 than a multi-Doctor story. I think these complaints could very well be jumping the gun. We haven't seen any indoor filming, and I would be shocked if RTD isn't keeping Doctors like 11 and 12 under wraps. The surprise of 14 and Donna is surely there to conceal the later, more shocking surprises when the specials actually go to air.
Worldwide premiere!
What's similar to 2013's anniversary setup is of course the switching of the guard. Tennant's Doctor will only be around for these stories, much like Smith, and Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor is already being introduced the following year, a la Capaldi. With such a similar setup going into this, I would love it if that concept of a time-jumbled multi-Doctor story were to happen. Everyone is expecting it to be a team-up of past Doctors, but what if the story is a team-up between the familiar face of David Tennant and the exciting new face in Ncuti Gatwa? We already know footage of Ncuti, as well as promo posters, are being put into the marketing, but it very much seems like one Doctor will follow the other. What if instead, David's last is Ncuti's first, at the same time? The Doctors always have a first story, post-regeneration, where they run around in the previous Doctor's outfit, usually have some sort of regeneration discombobulation, and go through the motions before becoming their true selves by the end of the story. This trope of regeneration sickness has led to some truly awesome stories, but I also think that A, it's been played out massively, and B, it does mean that sometimes we're left waiting for something we know is going to arrive anyway. I like Deep Breath, and I think it gets some unfair slack, but seeing Capaldi run around in a nightie, staring into barrels making tenuous links to fires of Pompeii, can't help but draw attention to the similarities found in other post-regeneration stories.
Why did I choose this face?
I've honestly always wanted to see a new Doctor show up fully formed, much like how Eccleston showed up in his first episode.
Run.
He didn't need to pick out his clothes or unscramble his brains, he was the fully formed 9th Doctor from the get-go. So what if, say, at the end of the first part of this 3-part special series, 14 and Donna are well and truly screwed by whatever situation the plot finds them in.
Oh my God, where are we? I'm sorry, Donna.
They seem all but doomed. 14 doesn't have a way out, and it seems like their reunion is going to be in death. But of course, there's always a way out. From out of the smoke, Ncuti Gatwa's 15 strides into frame in his full outfit with a new Sonic already chosen and a look on his face that says he knows what to do. All he says is, I know what happens next, and we're left waiting a whole week to find out more. The next 2 specials aren't solely the David and Catherine show like it appears it will be, and it's not a retread of classic multi-Doctor stories. Instead, it's a 4-hander with David, Ncuti and their companions, Catherine and newcomer Millie Gibson. 15 and Ruby Sunday have travelled back from a time before they met to help out Ncuti's past self. You get as much of both Doctors as you do of 10 and 11 in Day, except for the audience, it's as if we saw Day in 2010 before ever getting to know the Series 5 Doctor. I know what you're thinking, how can we skip ahead to a time Ruby and the Doctor are already friends? How can we skip Ncuti's regeneration story? But I think the finesse of a good script would be able to serve as an introduction for the audience, even if it isn't an introduction for them. We could learn who exactly these new characters are without having to see how they've met. Of course we can do that. Think about John Wick or Uncharted or the very first season of Star Trek. All examples of stories where the majority of the characters already know each other and have history. That doesn't mean the audience is lost. Just because we have the conventions of post-regeneration stories, the conventions of one Doctor switching roles to another in a linear fashion, that doesn't mean we have to do that every single time. Sans sickness or confusion or a wardrobe malfunction, 15 would be able to shine alongside 14. The special would be just as much about Ncuti Gatwa as it is about David Tennant. It would invite delicious head-scratching questions of how this fits into 15's timeline. Will Series 14 see the start of 15's lifespan and build up to the events leading him to go and meet his past self and help him out? Lending credence to this idea is the fact that Yasmin Finney recently revealed she shares some scenes with Ncuti. Well, she's supposed to be playing Donna's daughter, and there's nothing to suggest both characters are going to be about following the 60th. Maybe Finney's Rose simply pops up in Series 14, or maybe 15 is popping up alongside herself and her mother in the 60th. I don't think structuring the 60th like this would be such a wild idea anyway. In fact, who has laid all the groundwork for this kind of idea before? There is, of course, the aforementioned 50th Capaldi cameo, so we know it's possible to have a multi-Doctor special with Doctors we're yet to know. There's the telephone call in Deep Breath, wherein a Doctor we previously thought had said goodbye makes a time-bending cameo.
Goodbye, Clara.
Selling us on the idea that this is the same person with many faces. Again, a shockingly underrated opener in my opinion, and one that I think deserves a video all its own.
What do you think?
The 2008 Christmas special, The Next Doctor, basically does exactly what I'm suggesting, the only difference being that it's a fake out. But that sees 10 come face to face with a supposedly fully formed Doctor. David Morrissey is in a full costume, he's already found his companion, he doesn't suffer from regen sickness, he is the Doctor, well into his days. 10 is shocked by this, and the pair are forced to work together. This Doctor is new for the audience, but clearly has been kicking around for a while. The audience doesn't lose context just because we didn't see his day one. Hell, Clara was meant to be introduced in the 2012 Christmas special, but made a surprise debut months earlier in Asylum of the Daleks. Sure, it ended up being a variant of the companion we later met, but it still served as a way to unveil the personality of Clara, fully formed, well before the audience was supposed to meet her. This would be the same kind of trick. So with those ideas in mind, what if they extrapolated on that to give us a multi-Doctor special that's not made out of Doctors we know, but 2 new Doctors? Remember, 14 isn't 10. This is a Doctor that's lived all the years of Smith, all the years of Capaldi, all the years of Whittaker. He's now lived for thousands of years since he had that same face, and it's been an awfully long time since he saw Donna. Longer a wait than it was for us in real time on a scale unimaginable. Hitherto undreamt of.
Did you seriously just say hitherto undreamt of?
There will be a different edge to him with the weight of all those years. This Doctor might quack like a 10 and flap like a 10, but he's a 14. That kind of got away from me there, but you get the point. And then we have 15. He's an absolute blank slate. We have next to no idea how Ncuti will play the character. Having the big anniversary special be the chance to find out would be so exciting before launching into his own solo series in 2024. It would be a great way to make use of time travel within the concept of regeneration, which is usually depicted in a straightforward fashion. Honestly, a surprising fact considering what the show is about. It would mean having a foot in the past, David and Donna, and a foot in the future, Ncuti and Millie. It would allay all those fears that the 60th is merely a nostalgic look back at RTD's first era. By surprising us with a different kind of multi-Doctor special, it would prove that Doctor Who can still reinvent itself and be fresh and exciting in ways previously unexplored. It's just a silly little bit of speculation, and I don't expect it to necessarily be true, so don't come back here to tell me how bloody wrong I was. Although the last time I said that, the whole thing about revisiting old faces, but just the old favourites, that came true. Yep, thank you very much, thank you very much. So don't count out the idea that we could be getting way more Ncuti Gatwa in 2023 than perhaps we first thought. Rather than getting to know the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday in 2024, what if their first big adventure is only mere months away? We'll find out soon, but either way, I have faith that RTD and the team at Bad Wolf are going to deliver on 3 epic Doctor Who specials. It would be nice to see Smith and Capaldi and Whittaker, but if we don't, I'm sure the story will come first. And this is what truly matters. Not a bunch of cameos for cameo's sake.
What the hell?
A big thank you to my full fat tier patron, Dr. Chike, and Nathan Shaw. If you'd like to donate money to my Patreon, you can find me at patreon.com/fullfatvideos. If you'd like to find me on Instagram, you can find me at full_fat_videos. And if you'd like to find me on Twitter, you can find me at fullfatvideos.